Clay Dearman is going to give us a message this morning.
We don't need you that 5 minutes. Yeah, I think this may work out good because y'all have had a chance to have some breakfast. We've been singing some great songs. Now it's time to take a little nap in preparation for the meeting. I want to start by reading from Exodus chapter 4. I love this section. This is where Moses and God are talking. God's talking to Moses through the burning bush, and Moses is arguing back. And in verse 10, Moses said to the Lord, "O Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past, nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." The Lord said to him, "Who gave man his mouth? Who makes him deaf or mute? Who gives him sight or makes him blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go. I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." That's what I'm counting on today. I want to talk a little bit about music. You know, we've been singing this morning, and you know, I look around and I see your hands in the air. I'll be honest with you, I've spent so much of my life singing with the guitar in my hand, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm kind of standing here now, I'm not sure what to do. If I pick it up, it's kind of like a security blanket for me. But have you ever noticed how music touches you in ways that nothing else does?
Right.
You know, we like to think that, maybe not us, but many people like to think that man created music. This is this awesome thing, but it came from God. It's like prayer. I mean, when we sing praise to God, we can feel that flowing out of our hearts, but we can also hear God speaking back to us. And it is something so powerful and just amazing. I mean, the Bible is so full of many references to His people singing His praises or using songs to remember events that happened. The Israelites did that. They sang after they crossed over the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army was swallowed up. It's over and over and over in the Bible. I want to share a story with you this morning. This story is kind of long, but I'll keep it as short as I can. It spans about the last 40 years of my life. See, when I was 14, I decided that I wanted a guitar for Christmas. Now, I have no idea why. There was no music really in my family. My dad, as a kid, was kicked out of the church choir for singing so poorly. And his dad was the preacher. So you know that choir director went, "I don't want to let him to do that." That's how bad it was. It happened. And so I asked for a guitar for Christmas. Now, I grew up in Louisiana. We didn't have a lot of money. So this guitar did not come from a music store. It came from a department store. And it cost about $25. Now, it looked kind of like that. And it had a neck. It had 6 strings. But those strings were about this far from the neck. And it took everything I had to push them down. And it sounded terrible. But I didn't care because this was the early 70s. This was James Taylor. This was Jim Croce. This was America, the Eagles. Great groups like that. And I had this dream that one day I'm going to sit on a stool on a stage in a plush auditorium, you know, with a big balcony, has the red velvet seats and all that, and I'm going to be sitting there, and I'm going to be playing my guitar and singing, and it's going to be awesome. But there were a couple of problems with that. Well, one, I wasn't very good, but the biggest problem was I was terrified to sing or play in front of people. There was no way I could do this. I spent the next, I don't know how many years of my life just quietly singing and playing in my own house. Maybe with friends every now and then. I know Katie got to hear way too much, but I did finally get a better guitar, but that's as far as it went. There was no way I would ever play in front of people. Well, we moved around. We went to San Diego for a while. We moved to San Antonio. We were here in Austin. We were going to a fairly big church in Austin. The whole family was there. The church announced that they were going to have a talent show. I thought, hey, this is my chance. I can do this. I've always wanted to do this my whole life. I'm going to do this. It's a church. People don't throw things at you at church. People say nice things even if they don't mean it. It'll be okay. I'm going to do this. So I signed up. I'm going to play Leader of the Band by Dan Fogelberg. I've been playing this song for years. Piece of cake. So then they tell me they're going to have auditions. I'm thinking, well, you know, playing in front of a crowd is actually in some ways a little easier than playing in front of a small group. I don't know about this. But I show up for my audition. And I am sick to my stomach. Anybody know that feeling? I mean, I'm like, why did I say I would do this? It made no sense to me. My hands are shaking so bad that when I sat down to play, I couldn't play. I could not do it. I mean, I made a few mistakes this morning. I was wondering, but it happened. I could not play anything. I didn't even get halfway through the song before I gave up. I quit. There's a panel of judges, maybe 5 people there. And I was hoping they were going to be merciful and say, why don't you try again next year? They didn't. They said, go home, practice in front of your family, practice in front of friends and neighbors, we're going to put you in the show. Oh, great. Well, I did. I practiced. Katie heard the song over and over and over. And other neighbors that came over, friends that were over, I tried to make myself do it. I didn't want to, but I did it. Showed up the night of the show. I am sick to my stomach. I am shaking. There's just no way this is going to work. I walk out on that stage. I sit down on that stool. Now, it's not a plush auditorium. It's a church gym. It's not red velvet seats. It's folded metal chairs, but it's close enough. And somehow I got through that song. I don't think I ever looked out. I think I stared at my feet the whole time. But I got through the song. And you would think that at the end of that, my feeling would have been, that's done, that's over, I've done it, let's move on. But there was something inside me that said, I can't wait to do this again. It doesn't make any sense. I was sick to my stomach. But looking back, I can tell you that God had a plan. Well, there was a bunch of friends there at that talent show that night that turned out, one played bass, one played drums, another guitarist, another singer. Well, we formed a group and we started playing Southern and Bluegrass Gospel. We played in our church there, we played around the Central Texas area, we played at revivals, which, you know, this morning kind of reminds me of that. You go to those revivals and the food was always amazing. It was awesome. But I was always nervous. Sometimes I was so nervous I couldn't even play. I would just kind of stand there and move my hands so people wouldn't know I wasn't playing. It was that bad. This went on for a couple of years. Sometimes it was okay, sometimes it wasn't. Well, slowly kind of went our separate ways. Katie and I went to a different church. Kind of dabbled with music here and there at the church. Didn't do much. I was comfortable with that. Kind of met some more new friends. We ended up forming a praise band. We had a music director that was really good. I mean, she was from Nashville. She had this dream of making it in music. It didn't work out, but she was really good. She knew how to put a band together. So we started playing together, and we started playing in church every Sunday. And she would lead sometimes she'd have me lead. And I was so nervous and sick to my stomach that sometimes my hands wouldn't work and I couldn't sing. It was terrible. But after every time, I couldn't wait to do it again. God had a plan. We did that for about a year. She left the church. Another music director came in. He wasn't so good at putting the band together. He had a whole different view of what music should be. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, kick back. That way I won't be nervous every Sunday. Maybe I can sit through a service without feeling sick. That'd be probably a good thing. Well, had about a year of that. And the music was good. I don't want to say anything bad about it. It was good, but it wasn't what I needed. And I don't think it's what the church needed at the time. So I sat in the pew one Sunday morning, I think it was in July, and I prayed to God. And I said, God, give me the strength to tolerate this music, or make it clear to me I need to find another church. Have you ever noticed that when you pray to God and give him a multiple choice question, he always picks an answer that's not on the list? It happens every time. Well, I don't want to make light of what happened next. I hesitate to use this reference, but it was like a scene from the Blues Brothers movie. I heard God's voice as clear as I hear any voice in this room. And he said, Clay, put the band back together. And I said, God, I can't do that. I don't know what everybody's doing. I'm too nervous. I can't lead you. It's like Moses. God said, Clay, put the band back together. I said, but God, we have a music director. He's paid to do this. I'm not in charge. God said, Clay, put the band back together. Well, Katie will tell you, I don't like confrontation. I will do anything to avoid confrontation. And here I am, set on a direct course with this music director. I went to him and I told him, we're going to put the band back together, and we're going to start playing contemporary Christian music at the late service. He didn't like it a whole lot, and I let him play keyboards in the band. It's okay, but it wasn't his thing, but he went along with it. So we start rehearsing, we start getting some songs together, and I realized that, we need some new stuff. And by the way, I'm still nervous as all, this is even worse now because I'm kind of in charge. I don't know what to do with this. Well, my daughter came to me, she was 15 at the time, and said, Chris Tomlin is going to be playing at Stubbs Barbecue. Now this was before Chris Tomlin was as big as he is today. This is when he could play at Stubbs and not fill the place. Do y'all know the Arriving CD? It has How Great Is Our God and Holy is the Lord, all those fantastic worship songs. This was the kickoff concert for the tour to release that CD. In fact, by buying tickets, you got the CD. So those songs, nobody knew those songs yet. I'm thinking, hey, this would be cool. I'll drive her and her friend to the concert. I'll get to see Chris Tomlin play. I'll kind of pick up some pointers, learn how he does things. This will be good. This will be good. So we get there, it's the gravel lot behind Studs, a small stage, big screens up. It's got the words to the songs up. There's, I don't know, maybe 200 people there. I mean, it wasn't a huge deal. Maybe there's more. I'm really bad at counting. So, and he starts playing all these songs. And it's got the words up. And it was just an awesome worship event. It wasn't a concert. This wasn't a come listen to me. It was come worship with me. Well, everything's going good. I'm enjoying this. This is, I'm making mental notes of what to do. And we hit a song called On Our Side. I don't know if you remember that one from the CD. You don't hear it on the radio. But Chris said, this song was recorded with the gospel choir singing the chorus. And he said, look around, we didn't bring the gospel choir with us tonight. So he said, y'all, the audience, you're going to have to sing the chorus. So he quickly taught us the chorus. And I'm thinking, this is fantastic. I get to sing with Chris Tomlin. I mean, yeah, there's a couple hundred other people there. I get to sing with Chris Tomlin. Something amazing is going to happen with this. Well, he launches the song. He sings the first verse. We're all getting ready. I'm getting ready to sing this chorus. It's going to be awesome. You start the chorus. Man, I am singing so good. I got all these thoughts of, he's going to hear me. He's going to ask me to go on tour with him or something. I mean, I've got these wonderful thoughts of what's going to happen to me here. Well, sure enough, we get about halfway through the chorus. He stops. He stops the band. He stops everybody from singing. I'm thinking, geez, he's going to call me up on stage right now. That's not what happened. He didn't tell me to shut up either. But anyway, he said, you're singing too pretty. I want you to sing loud. I'm thinking, that's kind of a strange thing for him to say. What does he mean by that? He starts up the chorus again, and the guy behind me took that to heart. And he starts singing so loud and so far off key that I can't find a note to sing. I mean, here's my big chance to sing with Chris Tomlin. And this guy behind me is running. I literally quit singing, and I stood there with my arms folded. And all of a sudden, God let me hear that guy's heart. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. It went from fingernails on the chalkboard to sounding like an angel. And I realized at that moment that it's not about your voice. It's about your heart. That's why we sang Listen to Our Hearts earlier. And I stood there in this crowd, convicted. I was in a ditch. Have you ever seen that cable commercial or whatever, or satellite, or whatever it is? The guy's on the phone with the cable company and they're not going to, and he ends up going to play racquetball and he gets an eye patch and these guys chase him down a ditch and, anyway, so here I was, I'm laying down in a ditch. I realized that all these years I've been doing music all wrong. It was all about me. But that commercial ends with that guy laying there in that ditch. God doesn't leave you in the ditch. He opened my eyes and told me, you're in a ditch. I'm going to show you how to get out. I can't tell you where this came from. James read the scripture this morning about Jesus feeding the 5,000. I've heard that story since I was a little kid. You probably have too. We always think of the great miracle that Jesus did. Have you ever stopped to think about that little boy? Now imagine that little boy. He's maybe running off with his friends. I'm going to go see Jesus. And he's got a lunch. And he's seeing, the sick be healed and the lame walking. He's hearing teachings like he's never heard before. And this day is going on and he just can't believe. And he's just immersed in this event that's happening. I mean, this is Jesus talking. As the day wears on, he realizes he's hungry. Well, when I put myself in his shoes, my first thought is, I can reach in his basket and pinch off a little piece of bread, eat it. Yeah, I won't be able to eat it real quick, but I think I can do this without people noticing that I have food. My second thought is I should share. I should share this with a couple of people around me. I don't have enough to feed this crowd, but I can help a few people. We'll all get something to eat. It won't be enough, but we'll all get something to eat. That's not what that little boy did. He gave what he had. He didn't give one fish and a half a loaf of bread. He gave all he had to Jesus. And as far as he knew, Jesus was going to get dinner that night. And he was fine with that because Jesus needed it. Jesus deserved it. That's not what happened. Jesus broke that bread. He said thanks to his Father in heaven. He distributed that food. He fed 5,000 people with leftovers. That boy actually got to eat after. That's when I realized